Okay, today I'm going to show you how to trim down a full-size tatami mat however many inches back you want to go in order to make a custom size mat. If you're going to be filling wall to wall and you want to cut one mat down to go up against a wall. And so what you're going to need is a ruler of some kind. A T-square is very good. We're going to need a Sharpie, utility knife with a new sharp blade, and a putty knife. It's very handy. And then at the end we're going to use this 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive to put it all back together. Okay, so we're going to put our T-square on the mat, and measuring from 0 down this way, we're going to measure how many inches of this mat we want to cut off. So we want to make two marks. One is the actual distance, in this case let's say it's 7 inches, that we want to cut off the mat. So in this case the mat's, for example, 7 inches too long. So we're going to make a mark on the mat right here, and then we're going to step back 4 inches. Okay, and we're going to make another mark. So we're going to have one at 7 and one at 3. Okay, so here we're going to mark 7 and we're going to mark at 3. And then I'm going to take my T-square, and this is kind of where it comes in handy, because I know I'm teed up on the end here. So we're going to make a line at 7 across the whole mat, and then we're going to make the other line at 3 across the whole mat. So we have the two lines. This line is on the side of the mat that I'm keeping, and it is where the mat, when we're all done, is going to be cut back to when it's all said and done. But this line is what I'm going to cut off first. So I'm going to cut the whole thing top to bottom across this line. So it's pretty durable vinyl, so I like to start in the corner and kind of use the saw and then get that blade down in there. And the first pass is kind of slow and high pressure. Follow that line. Okay. And then if we're on a table, I'm going to put my hand on the end of the mat that's hanging off the table and open that seam up. This is very helpful. And then I'm going to get in here. At some point you're going to get all the way through the foam. You're going to feel that vinyl. When it feels like you've pretty much gone all the way through, if you can't get it from the top, you can get it from the back side, like you're cutting sheetrock. Maybe you swing around, do it from the other side. Try not to cut yourself. So here what we want to do is we're going to basically take off, ideally we're going to keep the side, and we're going to just take off this part, okay? And then we're going to scrape out the foam, and you can imagine we're going to be left with the side and then the top. And once it's all of this foam and this is removed, we can basically fold it back up onto itself. So we're going to start that process. We're going to be careful. We're just going to go into the vinyl right there. Now we're going to do the same thing. This is the actual place where I want the mat to end. So we're going to make that cut, and then when you get to the end, kind of go really slow so you don't overcut it. I'm going to try to cut this side gingerly, thinking that I'm going to try and save the side material. It's not critical. Now I'm going to kind of do the same thing on the other corner. You can see I'm staying up on top of that, not really hitting the corner. I rode up a little bit. Then you can kind of peel this back. You can see you've got the I'm going to peel this off because I know it's all cut now. Go real nice and gentle here. So we're going to go ahead, take all that off, and then I'm going to go ahead, try to cut gingerly this foam away. Okay, I'm just going to cut straight down, try to separate that. This corner is particularly a little bit more work to get in there, but again, you can ride this over a table and open that seam up. Okay, now, super important, when you get down, you don't want to cut through. So we got to be super careful because we don't want to cut through this backside of the vinyl. That's critically very important. And then when you get to the corner, don't go too far. I need to cut this away. So we continue to cut our foam, being super careful. When you get close to the back side here, we're not going to cut that vinyl. So we're going to try to separate this, as much foam as we possibly can. Getting a grip on it and start pulling works. You're not going to take it in the hole all in once. You're just going to have to work it. Put it back up on the hard surface. So, got that pretty well started. All right, so here's a little trick. It's if you can get that vinyl straight up and down on the backside, which you kind of see here, I've cut some through, and you can work the knife a little bit more straight up and down, you can get almost all the way through the foam, and then in a way you're kind of getting behind it to separate the foam from the backside of the vinyl here, because that's what I need to do, is get that separated so it wants to peel up a little easier. Not putting too much pressure on the blade here so as to not cut through that vinyl on the backside. See if that helps my efforts to pull this foam out. I think you can lean on it like this and get it started on the back side. That helps. There we go. There we go. All right, that comes off. Then back to the scraping. Here we're making good progress. You can see here the foam kind of sticking out a little bit. You know, it's not as vertical as it is right here coming off of this edge. So I want to clean that up a little bit. You can use the putty knife. Putty knife's good here because I'm probably going to not cut the vinyl. Here we are down to the corner. So we're just going to kind of gingerly try to get the rest of this foam out of here without cutting that too much. If possible, keep that intact. So what's going to happen is actually we're going to cut right along here so that this can fold over and then this comes up. The crease on the back side, you can see where it's creased, right? We're going to cut right along that. Okay, this is what we're left with. Put that back on the table. Put this back on the table and go ahead and clean that up. No, that's fine. You can see what's going to happen here is we're going to clean it up, then we're going to glue it up, and it's all going to come together like this. Okay, so we're going to finish cleaning this up. The more foam you get off now, I think the better glue will stick. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to this side, of course. All right, so here we're just going to take a broom and get into this seam here. All right. I went and I got some scissors. And what we're going to do is basically kind of demo this. So we want to kind of fold it up together, and then we're going to look at this, and that's a little long, so I'm just going to trim it back here going to eyeball it a little bit from this point and cut that back just a little bit. And then this doesn't need to be quite as long, I guess, so that can get cut back a little bit. Okay, we're going to do that to the other side. And we're going to look at that. That might be fine. Pull it nice and tight. That looks like it comes up on the corner just fine, so I like that. All right, so I think we are ready for glue. Okay, so now we've got things cleaned up. I've added some extra cardboard for the side because I'm going to spray it. Kind of pulled it off the edge of the table a little bit, so we're not going to spray the table. Shake up my can. When you use this spray adhesive, it's always good to work in a well-ventilated area. We'll go ahead and spray down. Actually, you want to be fairly generous, and then you can put some on the top edge here. We're going to go ahead and peel that, fold that in. Okay. Then we're going to lift this up. And roll it over and try to get it to stick. And then we're going to jump to the other side. Do the same thing. Pull it away from everything. See if we can get it to stick, and then go to the corner or the center. Get that nice and sticky there. And then everything should go fairly straight. And then work it in. And that's the finished product. Well, that's going to obviously be on the floor, so we're not really going to see this. And this is going to be up against the wall. But you want it nice and tight. That's it.